Hi everyone, my name is Marie Kerrin. I am the project manager of LEAD, which is Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion. Regretfully, I can't be there today, but I am excited to be able to present some basic facts about LEAD to you and just be present in the way that I can for the summit today. So, LEAD, Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion, we work at the front end of the criminal legal system to divert people who really just need help and would be better served by services in the community out of the criminal legal system entirely. So, hopefully, we're intercepting them before they even end up with court cases. Certainly, that will happen, but that's our goal. We provide officers an alternative to arrest for low-level nonviolent offenses when what the officer identifies as the underlying cause of the person's behavior is unmet behavioral health needs, substance use, or homelessness. So officers refer to us, we step in, we provide case management. And our case management model is also unique in the landscape of social services in New Orleans. We are long-term, we discharge as a last resort, we're low barrier, meaning we come out curbside. We're trying to make services as accessible as possible. And we're based in harm reduction. So we don't require abstinence. We don't mandate behavior. We are with people for as long as they need us. And we prioritize the relationship first. The relationship with clients is at the core of everything we do. Lead office offers win-wins across the board for all sorts of folks. I mean, for officers, they're freed up to handle more serious matters. For community members, they are able to receive care in the community instead of being exposed to the trauma of jail and the disruptions that the disruptions in a life and the kind of impediments that would cause. And then for other residents in the community, in the neighborhood, who see other residents struggling with unmet needs on the street, they can rest assured that there's care being taken to provide for the needs of their community members. It was actually invented in Seattle in 2011, and it was the result of community members, public defenders, district attorneys, law enforcement officers all coming together to recognize that what was happening in their jail system with the endless cycle of arrest and repeat and jailing people for these low-level offenses. In Seattle, it was primarily drug offenses. That's where that was the target original lead eligible charges. It wasn't working. It wasn't making the community safer, and it wasn't helping anyone get any treatment or improve their lives on their own terms. So after 2 years of collaborative meetings trying to determine a better way to approach this problem that everyone agreed upon, they came up for the model of LEAD, which allowed officers to refer to case management at the moment of an offense. Now, there have since, the referral streams have expanded since then. Officers can also refer quote unquote familiar faces, folks that they know from the community who are struggling without waiting for someone to offend in a way that would bring attention to them. And then a third recent referral pathway into LEAD is through community referral. And the community referral system allows community members themselves to refer the same kind of folks to LEAD without even having officers at the scene. This to me is a really exciting possibility for New Orleans, and I think that's a direction where LEAD is going to expand, but I'll get to that in just a second. So let's talk about LEAD locally in New Orleans. Our pilot model started at the end of 2017 in the 8th District. That's the French Quarter. The 8th District was chosen because the year before 2017, 2016, when they were analyzing data, 52% of all low-level misdemeanors happened in that district. In fact, it's more like 80% these days of the arrests that NOPD are making for low-level misdemeanors. So it's as you understand, a high concentration of these low-level offenses where folks really just would do better with services instead of incarceration. Our model was very effective in the 8th district in our pilot version. From the tail end of 2017 until 2020, when the pandemic hit, we served 75 clients and saw a great reduction in arrests. In fact, let me pull up that specific number for you. Um, yes, so in 2019, our data showed a 79% reduction in police summons, 35% reduction in arrests, and 90% reduction of days spent in jail per participant. So that was looking at the cohort of folks we had served in the pilot version of LEAD. That was looking at the 1 year of arrests before they enrolled in LEAD and 1 year after. We also recently analyzed some data at the end of 2022, and we also had a similar reduction. We saw a 53% reduction in arrests compared to pre-enrollment arrests. And then of those 53% who were arrested after their enrollment in LEAD, the number of times that they were arrested dropped 50%. So we're seeing at the recidivist level, a mass reduction in who's getting brought into the criminal legal system. In terms of our local story, in 2020, when the pandemic hit, we did lose funding and we were non-operational for about a year and a half. But fortunately, the city believed in our promise too much to let things end there. We were able to gain funding to launch again in the 8th district, and we relaunched August 2021. So we've been operational in the French Quarter area since that time. And then this is a really big deal. We recently expanded to 2 more districts. So we've tripled in size in the last year. And it's really our city partners just believing that although it makes sense as a pilot to have us to start things off for New Orleans in that district, and especially in terms of racial disparities, you're not necessarily addressing the needs of many New Orleanians who are living in the city and have lived here long term. So we are now also in the 6th district, which is Calliope Corridor, Irish Channel, not CBD, but Lower Garden District, and also the 7th district, which is New Orleans East. We just launched. Travelers Aid is our partner in the launch for the 6th and 7th districts. We're with NAMI for the 8th district. And so far, we're 3 months into our expansion. It's going well. We started with a cohort of folks who have the highest number of low-level arrests for low-level misdemeanors over the last 2 years. And of those folks, we were able to cross-identify with homeless database systems and public defender records. Our partners in the community were there folks who fit both criteria of having low-level arrests and then also unmet behavioral health needs, substance use, or homelessness. With those 2 analyses of data, we were able to come up with pilot lists. Outreach teams have met with folks, have offered LEAD entirely on their own terms. So those are the pilot numbers we've started with for our expansion. We've also hit roll calls, talked to officers, and we're building out, again, the community referral pathway, especially in New Orleans East. So we're working on building up more of that front end criminal legal system impact. Barriers to success, I would say long-term sustainable and secure funding sources. That's going to be a barrier to success across the board for everyone. And then also, because LEAD does rely upon so many political stakeholders convening, it also makes it sort of, depending on who's around and who's in office, it can make it less stable, let's say, or less implemented and instituted in the way that you would hope a program to be. So just being subject to the changing political climate can also be a problem for lead. And we just got to keep, I think, slowly building and proving what we can do. And I think as long as we do that and we can communicate the value of what we're doing, it's going to work out fine. But it's an uphill battle to prove that we should reorient these systems of punishment with care. But that's what I'm committed to, and that's the promise of LEAD. So it's something I'm really excited to have been a part of for the last 3 years. Thank you very much.